Hello, and welcome to another 5-minute review. On today's rendition, we'll be having a cheeky wee look at Gloria Victis Siege Survival. The game, which appears to be a widening of the scope from Black Eye Games' 2016 MMORPG title, Gloria Victis, sees you take control of a civilian population trapped in the citadel of a city under siege, having you act as scavenging and supply force for your city's last line of defence, the Bastion. We played the preview build after I was lucky enough to be sent a key by the devs Black Eye Games - Fish Tank Studio. The kingdom that you find yourself in is the Kingdom of Midland. The year is 1205, and you find yourself as happy as any ignorant peasant would be, that is until the Ismers, probably wider recognised as a Viking cosplay under another name, have attacked from Kargald. I have to mention, the intro was actually fairly captivating, and I found myself understanding the savagery of our attackers and what had just unravelled in the surrounding city. It is at this point in the preview build you find yourself making choices that will affect your start in the game. Whether it be more supplies, having more defenders available, you choose and it will have a lasting impact. On this note, the game has a number of moral dilemmas that present themselves throughout, causing you to make future defining decisions. As the gameplay starts, you come into the Bastion. You find yourself playing as Flint, who is of the worker class in the game, allowing him to have a larger backpack, meaning more items can be gathered and scavenged when out during the night in the war-ravaged city. You then find yourself comforting and settling in Bertram, who is a local carpenter. He gives you some basic advice and guidance on what you should build to start off with and how they work. Basic tutorial stuff really, that simply forces you to get to grips with basics while also furthering the game. It is worth noting that during enemy attacks, siege weapons and projectiles will be a constant threat. There is an area of the Bastion offering protection to your small work areas, but you cannot fit everything there, so choices must be made on what to protect. As your courtyard begins to assemble an encampment, you are introduced to the Bastion mechanic, a defence that you do not get to see actually unfold, but can support through supplies, repairs and arms. We are then asked by the commander if we can assume the mantle of scavenging the city during the cover of night for supplies vital to the Bastion's survival. During this, the city itself has multiple options for a deployment starting position, however in the preview some of these were locked. You are able to equip your characters differently to carry out different tasks. Some tasks you will encounter require different tools to be disposed or dispatched of, many of these having a one-time use, meaning crafting and finding of new items is key to further exploration. You then find yourself moving slickly through your own ruined city during the cover of night, searching different piles of rubble and buildings you come across, trying to find both supplies to survive and commodities needed to build and upgrade your ability to self-sustain. There are two different modes of movement. One is a sneaky walk, with the other being a YOLO screeching run, which does get you there quicker, but can draw attention from the occupying Vikings, I mean Ismers. The combat, when you find yourself unfortunate enough to be caught, is sort of confusing, and leaves you unaware how your character can strike an enemy they do not face, as well as there being no real clear indicators of who is winning. The playstyle somewhat remind me of one of my favourite childhood games, Commandos. As you return, you find your massive backpack of loot not going very far. Between keeping yourself and your animals watered and fed, you then have to do the same with the Bastion, with little surplus remaining. As you unlock or recruit more characters, you also find yourself having to work them in shifts for their tasks, balancing hunger, thirst and fatigue as well as injuries. As the attacks from the Bastion ramped up, we found ourselves under bombardment. These can come in a few forms, but the most frustrating was the fire arrows. They, on multiple occasions, set our workplaces on fire, and we found ourselves scrambling around through the arrow fire, putting out multiple fires and repairing, all the while hell rained in. It's honestly an interesting mechanic, as with these attacks and survival come opportunities to gather some of the debris and put it to your own use. Overall, I found myself wanting more in terms of gameplay and depth, but I guess that's what the purpose of a preview build is, and they have me well and truly interested. There were some small glitches we encountered, which I'm sure will be ironed out shortly, and overall I found myself really engaging with the game. If I could offer any advice to the devs, from a quotations content creator, and especially a streamer's point of view, I would love the ability to rename characters in-game. The game itself is in a genre of game I would normally have avoided, but I find myself after playing Gloria Victis somewhat more intrigued by the survival genre. It has also been requested that I give a rating, say out of 10 or 5 stars, but I would rather use my words. So I'd summarise by saying, I would put this in the category of looking forward to seeing how it develops after some more time and features are added. and find myself wanting to play and stream the game for much longer. As always, I appreciate any feedback on these videos as they are still a new concept to me, and I appreciate any support in terms of subs, likes and follows, especially over on the old Twitch, which is where I produce most of my content. Cheers again.